Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ballin with Bill here at Sideline Power. I have a very great guest today that I've known for a long, long time, have a ton of respect for, Mark Wortman from Elkhorn High School. Welcome.
Pleasure to be here, Bill. We've known each other a long time. It was
I think you've chewed my rear a few times.
41 years ago. I was actually, 42 years ago, I was at UNO, graduate assistant, and you were on the football team.
Yeah.
And so we've known each other for 42 years now.
Yeah.
It's been a long
I
time.
didn't even realize that. See, I would have never realized that.
Yeah, we've known each other for 42 years.
My God. Big Dad.
Oh my gosh. Noel Martin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was, what got me to UNO was my high school football coach, Noel Martin, who, he came, my senior year, he came to Lexington, and we didn't lose a game. And I leave Elkhorn, or leave Lexington, and he stays there a few years, and he ends up going to UNO, and I'm teaching, I'm ready to become a graduate assistant, and by golly, he's at UNO, and so he says, Mark, come to UNO. So I come to UNO and meet the Dannenhauers and meet a lot of good people.
You coach Bob.
And I coached Bob.
Yeah, you did.
Outside linebacker. And so, no, it was, and then our AD at Elkhorn, Mark King, was on the football team.
Yes, he was. He was secondary in the secondary.
Yeah, in the secondary. He was like a freshman at that time.
Yeah, he was a corner.
Yeah, corner. So, no, the UNO connection has been beautiful. You know, there's a lot of good people that were there, and so no, it was a good turn of events for me.
Yeah. So tell us about the beginning, because I know you went to Lexington.
Yes.
So what? So tell me about all that, because I know you had a good career there, and you played Northern Colorado.
Yeah. Then I went to school in Northern Colorado, and didn't know a lot about Northern Colorado, but you know, they'd kind of been lightly recruited there, and went out there and played 4 years
For Bob Lacey, right?
Yeah, Bob Lacey. Yeah. And we had some good teams and met some, great guys there. So in 4 years, I did graduate, made it, but enjoyed my football experience there. Some great coaches, and I think some of the things that I used through the years have come through UNC, University of Northern Colorado.
Right.
There was a guy named Vince Zimmer, who was just a terror, but respected and loved, and I think I got a lot of things from him, just the discipline, the organization, the things that Vince Zimmer did. He just passed away in Wyoming a couple years ago. Oh. And but anyway, great coach there. And I knew, Bill, I knew from day one I wanted to be a coach. Now, when I was in high school.
Oh, you did? You were in high school?
When I was in high school, I knew I wanted to be a teacher and a coach.
Okay.
My older brother was a teacher and a coach, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps. Okay. And there's nothing I wanted to do other than teach and coach. So I got a history degree at Northern Colorado, and a job opened up, and there's a couple small schools that opened up, and I could have been a coach, but there's a larger school in Littleton, a suburb of Denver, right. Southern part of Denver. You probably know where that is.
Yes, I do.
And it was a somewhat new school. About 4 years it had been open, Heritage High School.
Oh, yeah.
And they needed, it was just a half-time job. And I thought, oh, gee, this is a school I wanted to be at, but it's only half-time. And I'm glad I gambled, because at semester, a full-time job opened up. So I was an assistant coach at Heritage High School, the Eagles, for 4 years. Loved it. Some great kids. I worked with Bernie McCall. Bernie McCall was the head coach, and he'd played quarterback at CU back in the 60s. So he was a good mentor for me. Yeah. And so I was there for 4 years, and I was just kind of getting the itch. Do I want to go into college? I like high school. I wanted to be a head high school coach or get into college. Mm-hmm. And so I wrote letters to several people, including Noel, and Noel says, hey, I know you're thinking about this, and this, but he says, UNO might be the place. And so came out and looked at UNO and got a master's degree. Went there, and that was the fall of '79. Fall of '79. Yeah. And was there a year. And as a matter of fact, Sandy Buddha, he knew I wanted to get in college coaching.
Right.
And Pat Henderson.
Oh, you're bringing back some names now.
Yes, Pat Henderson was the defensive back coach,
Right.
and he left
Right.
that year. That was '79.
He went to, where'd he go? Indiana State, didn't he?
Yes,
Yes.
he went to Indiana State.
Yeah.
And he said, and Sandy Buddha came up to me and he says, Mark, this is what you've been looking for. This is possibly a job. He says, I'll hire you. And I had already went to Elkhorn.
Oh, really? I didn't know
I
that.
had been to Elkhorn and I'd interviewed and I said, Sandy. And so I was kind of, between a rock and a hard place. What do I want to do for my future? And Elkhorn, small little, it's grown a lot.
It was, yeah.
It was,
Back then.
Yeah, it was a
Millard
distance.
Millard High School.
Yes.
Millard South now was far west as anything
Right.
was.
Oh no, there was cornfields between Elkhorn
I
and
remember
Omaha.
those days. Yes, it was.
And so I'm driving out to Elkhorn. I interview, and it just seemed, Bill, like the right fit.
Gotcha.
And I had, at that time, I had, my 4 or 2 daughters and 2 more to come. And I thought, this might be a good place to grow up and have a family. And so anyway, make a long story short, Elkhorn seemed like the right spot. And so I can remember telling Sandy, Coach Buddha, I think Elkhorn is calling me. And he says, hey, I respect it. He said, because he put in a good word for me to get into Elkhorn.
Right.
And so did Noel Martin. Noel Martin knew a couple guys out at
Noel knew everybody.
Noel knew everybody.
He knew everybody.
So, so here it is. I got a job at Elkhorn, and boom, I live in the same house. I've been there for 41 years.
Yeah, have you really?
Yeah, and so
Holy cow.
Elkhorn, and just it's been heaven on earth. I haven't wanted to go anywhere else. Haven't been tempted to get back into college football or Class A or Class this or hey, Elkhorn has been the right fit. And so I probably went on a little longer than you needed, but
No, you're fine. No. Okay, Noel gave you your chance. Of course, he gave me my first. That's who hired me up in St. Cloud.
Yeah.
Getting up there. You got to give us one Noel Martin story because he's a
Oh
he's a
my
classic
gosh.
with classics.
Noel would be the film. He would have to, Mark, pick a film. You're going to show the boys a film today, and he wouldn't care which film it was, and he was kind of unorganized, but at the same token, he knew what was going. He knew what was going to be done, and he was just he was classic. Things wouldn't bother him. Sometimes between a defensive coordinator and head coach Sandy Buddha, I know sometimes there was, oh my gosh, but they sometimes argued, but they got along. They respected each other.
Right.
And Noel was a heck of a high school coach.
Oh yeah.
Because he did have some talent. I'm not taking that away.
That's back in the days that Lexington was.
Lexington was on a roll.
Yeah, they were.
Yeah. Pat Hodges and Ted Harvey and some of the names that ended up playing in different places. And and he knew, he said, Mark, the key to high school, get your best athletes, don't overcoach them.
Sounds like
You're gonna say,
don't
overcoach them. And he says, get your best athlete, put him at quarterback,
Right.
and let him go. And so he had Ted Harvey, who plays down at Nebraska and is an All-American or whatever. So he had some good kids.
Right, did.
But he knew how to handle high school kids. Kids loved him.
Oh,
Kids loved him, and
Yeah.
at UNO then, and he so it was it was nice to play for, and I'm glad I had him just 1 year, my senior year, but glad I did. He was a difference maker.
It was
Yeah.
because you won the state your senior year, didn't you?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You weren't undefeated, right?
Yes, we didn't lose a game.
Yeah.
Then the next year, Noel lost 2 games. And the next year undefeated, the next year undefeated. So in 4 years he was there, he lost 2 games.
I know it's quite a record.
Yeah, he was on a roll.
Yeah,
So
he was.
he could have gone probably a lot of places.
Right.
Yeah.
And he came to UNO and coached us and everything.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
Quite a gentleman.
Yes.
And him and my dad.
Oh, yes.
Same hometown, Clay Center, Kansas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same high school. So
Yeah.
it's kind of a different play.
Yeah.
Kind of cool.
And I'll tell you what, my experience at UNO with Sandy and Noel, and it was a cool environment. The year I went there, you might remember the yearbook that opened up, or the pamphlet. It was Sandy Buddha, Riverboat Gambler. Riverboat Gambler.
Riverboat Gambler. The big can of cards.
Yeah, his old cards, and what's he going to do now? and it was cool. And the stadium, it was, we played UNC that year, and UNC I think was undefeated, and UNO, and it was like 3-0 or 6-0 the final score, and the stands, it was like 12,000 people, both sides. It was just, oh my gosh, it was
Good atmosphere.
It was a
back
great
then.
atmosphere.
Yeah,
It really was.
It was.
And so no, it was, and I did being a graduate assistant. I did a lot of. I wasn't at every home game. I was on the road scouting.
That's right.
And so Chuck Osberg would, the offensive coordinator, would give me a check and say, "Mark, here's your expenses," and it would be enough for gas and maybe a meal or two. and I would take a car and one of the cars on lot there and go on up to North Dakota or Northern Iowa and I'd be scouting and Pat Henderson was a good coach.
Yeah, he was.
He knew his stuff.
He coached at Kansas too.
Yes, I went down to Kansas once and talked to him down there. Yeah, and so he would tell me, here's what to look for, here's what to do, and I'll tell you what, that I think I learned. Well, there's no doubt I learned a lot at UNO with Pat Henderson and Tim McGuire.
Oh, Tim was D-line coach,
D-line coach, the different coaches that were there, and so it was a good experience. And so just learning defensive football and how to scout. What are their tendencies? What do they like to do? What do they do? And so it was a great experience. Yeah.
So now you go to Elkhorn. You have all this good experience because you play for Bob. You coach with Sandy and Noel and all them guys, and he had a good staff back then. All you guys. So how did you formulate your plan at Elkhorn? Because you come in and kind of new there and started and kind of build a wonderful program there.
The weird thing is one of the administrators kind of said, not that it's all that important, Mark, but what kind of offense you going to run? And it really caught me off guard a little bit. I mean, I had not been a head coach.
Right. And
I got to thinking, you know what? I think we might run, because I remember a lot of the teams that I scouted for UNO that year, kind of a split back, outside veer, inside veer, and option. And I said, well, we probably run split backs and probably run some veer. And I really wasn't sure because I wasn't sure I was going to get the job. I hadn't been a head coach. I wasn't really thinking about it. And so then when I get the job, I go in to talk to Chuck Osberg. I said, Chuck, I got the job at Elkhorn. What offense should I run? And he said, it's not a bad idea. He says, we run an I. You kind of know the I formation. You should run the I. So I told everybody I was going to run a split back veer. We never run a split back veer one day. One day.
I've always remember you being in the I.
So he says, now there's 2 pass plays you need to have. There's just a little, he called it a little out, and here's the combo route with that. And then there's a little curl and a flat pattern. And he said, run those 2. And he said, sprinting out's not bad. He says, if you drop back, you're going to get sacked a lot. He said, have a little sprint out game, and here's your 2 routes, and here's your 4 plays on offense. Now you don't need a lot of plays, and get these down right, would you, Mark? And run an off tackle, run a sweep, run a trap, and run a counter.
Yeah.
And he said, and
that's what we ran.
Yeah, and if the last 40 years, and coaches that coach against Elkhorn, they know we don't run a lot of plays. We run them but we try to run them simple, consistent, no mistakes, methodical, and just try to keep it. That's really it's not a sophisticated offense, but I think that's what's made us successful. And so Chuck Osberg was kind of a key. And then I remember talking to the coaches at John Backus and a couple of the coaches at Elkhorn saying, what about this or that, and I formation, that kind of fits us. And we did have, my very first year there, we did have a good quarterback. We weren't real good, but we did have a good quarterback and made a difference. So, that kind of got us going. And we wanted to run, and he said, and the coaches, Noel and everybody said, well, in high school, and you can see this probably at any level, you got to stop the run.
Yeah.
Now, as much as people pass, if they can pass and run, you're trouble.
Stop. It's a long day.
Stop the run.
Right.
And make them pass. Right. And then maybe your defensive backs can react and get a couple interceptions, whatever. So I thought, okay, 5-man line, 4-man line, let's get a 6-man line. And so we started off with a 6-man line. It was almost like a goal line defense. That's what we played all the time initially. God. That's what we had. We had 6 guys wrapping line. Now the outside guys, and your brother Bob would know, we kind of played up on the line, a tough, but it was an outside linebacker,
right?
And so, but he was up. If there's a tight end, we got somebody in your face.
Yeah.
And so, so it was a 6-man front, stop the run, be simple, don't do a lot of things, and it was a simple offense because I'm kind of a simple-minded guy. I couldn't be complex, so but it was it was a simple offense, and we started kind of slow and throughout the '80s, and so in the fall of '80 was my first year at Elkhorn, and I'm finishing. This was season 41.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good job. We're going to take a break here right now. We'll come back here in a minute, showing our new products. So thank you very much. We'll be right back with you, Mark.
Okay.
Gotta check this one out. This elephant playing on a teeter totter.
I'll show you the video. Let me find it. There it is. Yeah, look at this video.
Guys, if you don't have anything better to do, why don't you go set up the Raven? We have a coach coming to take a look at it later.
Sure.
The Raven end zone camera is our top-of-the-line end zone camera system. It's easy to set up and even easier to use, and it's trusted by some of the top professional football teams in the country. Manufactured in the USA by the inventor of the end zone camera, this system is like no other. Its self-pan tilt control handle makes one-person operation a breeze. It has been proven for over 20 years to be safe, sturdy, and reliable. It shouldn't take a normal person more than 5 minutes to set up, but with these interns, hopefully they'll be out there all day so we can finally have some peace and quiet here in the office.
Hey, can we get some help out here real fast?
No, I'm not helping you guys set it up. You need to learn on your own.
It's already set up. We just need a lookout right now.
A lookout?
Check it out. It only took us about 5 minutes to put up.
Wow.
Yeah, we're just spying on the neighbors right now.
Ah! No! Oh! No, God! Just as a disclaimer, the Raven and any sideline power product should only be used for athletic events. Do not spy on your neighbor. Please use responsibly. Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Ballin with Bill here with Mark Wortman from Elkhorn High School. Mark, let's just continue what you're talking about the 80s. You started in the 80s, so you built the eye, you built the 6-man line. When did you finally change from a 6-man line?
Oh, golly. It actually is kind of slow. We always called it a 6-man front, but it was really kind of a 4-4 with if there's a tight end, we move the outside linebacker right up on him.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So if there was just one tight end, it looked like a 5-man front.
So then you back the other
we
kid
back
off
the other guy off.
in the alley there.
But if there was a double tight, boom! There it looks like
Like
gosh,
going.
you're playing 6-man on the front. Yeah, we are because we're going to make it tough for your tight ends to get out. So that's what we played for a long time, and then we thought we needed a little more diversity and a little, when you get to the point where it was a 6-2. Not only 6 men on the line, but we got 2 linebackers. So there's only 3 defensive backs.
If anybody slips by, you're in trouble.
Right. And so 3 defensive backs is not bad, but the passing game, started to evolve a little bit.
Big time during your time.
And so 3 defensive backs, and every now and then, Coach Ock, who's our defensive back coach, he just did, 3 deep. It's all you can do. Cover 3. Just back up, boys. That's all. And every now and then and I said, Jim, what'd you just do? Well, I blitzed a corner. I said, Jim, we've only got 3 defensive backs, and you're blitzing one of them? What's going on here? So eventually we got to the point where maybe we should have that one strong safety, maybe that strong outside linebacker. Maybe he could be a strong safety. We could move him back, sometimes a cover 4, and maybe have an umbrella. And maybe we could do cover 2, cover 3, and change it up a little bit. And so we kind of evolved to that, and we went down to Northwest Missouri.
Okay.
We've had some kids play there. And
they've done a good job recruiting Omaha.
They really have. And the success they've had.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh. The national championships that they've had. And so we said, you know what, maybe let's go down to Northwest Missouri. We went down there, and they've been nothing but nice to us. We've gone down there numerous times. And so we started playing with some of the things that they did.
So
and obviously
more of a 4-man front.
Yes,
stuff
more of a 4-man front now. And if they have a tight end, we don't necessarily get. We wait a minute. We got to have coverage, and so it gave us more flexibility in the pass defense and run defense, and actually, you can come up and stop the run as well as anything. So Northwest Missouri, we have to give I think really one of the first years. I mean, it's only been like the last 10 years. We've changed a whole lot on defense. In the last 10 years, we won a state championship in 2011, and we had our new defense, at that time. So it was, it's been a work in progress, and we've tweaked and changed things a little bit, but pretty much we had that 6-man goal line for about 20 or 30 years.
So it wasn't until everybody started going the one back that you started adjusting.
Then we had to change. Yeah, it was. Yeah, we'd get more coverage, and people could do different things. And so there's times now we can play. Gosh, we can play some man. We can play some rollover. We can do different things when they spread it out and still be somewhat sound.
Right.
But still, we've found out, even with all of this, and you probably know, being a coach yourself, you still got to stop the run.
It still comes down to blocking and tackling.
It does.
It doesn't matter.
It does. And if somebody can spread you out, and even teams that spread out, and we've spread out a little bit more now.
Yeah, you
even
have.
Elkhorn.
You've changed a lot.
We've changed
Not
some.
watched you play,
that, you still, it's really nice to kind of hand the ball off to a back and have them run. It's so much more sure. You don't have to. And so if we can do that, we're going to do that. And teams, so if you can't stop the run, so you got to have a good solid front four, and we now have one inside linebacker, which is new for us, which the last 10 years, but those outside linebackers can come in kind of heavy if they need to. Mm-hmm. So they fluctuate depending on the formation and who we're playing and what they want to do down in distance. So it is a good offense, a good defense for, I think, the 21st century.
Yeah, it's changed the game. I mean, when you first started, it's the openness and the one back and the more diversity on offense has made the defense, because you have to adjust.
Right.
Or you can't stay in a cover 3 or you're going to get ate up.
Exactly. No. So we've changed, and some of our good outside linebackers that we've always had are now good safeties.
Amazing.
Yeah, and that's what the Northwest Missouri says. You want these kids to be moving forward, and it isn't like back when you had just 3 defensive backs and they were backpedaling. He says now you've got 4 guys, sometimes 5. That's safety. This safety on this side, he can come like a missile.
Right.
And on a read, and so we've had times we've had Hayden Steck, who was all state this last year, just a junior. He played safety, and he's making some tackles at no gain. He's a safety.
Mm-hmm. He's coming up hard.
He's coming up hard.
Yeah.
He's coming up hard. So it's changed, but actually it's more flexible and actually a better defense. We had blinders on, and we were very much thought this is the only way to do it. There's more than one way to do it now. Yeah. So.
Cool. So now, because you used to be a big I team, and you still are, but how have you adapted? Because I know I've been out and I've seen some more one. I almost fell over the first time I saw you a few years ago when you ran one back. I said, Coach Wortman's in a one back?
This is more recent. Our defense, we changed that 10, 15 years ago.
Right.
But offensively, we just, 3 years ago, this has just been our second year of getting out of the I formation.
Yeah, I was at a game last year and I saw it and I thought it fell off.
No, just 2 years now we've done it, and we went to Class A in 2 years, in 2008 and 2009,
right?
Because of enrollment, and then Elkhorn South was created, and those 2 years we stayed in I, and people said you can't do I against Class A, and we stayed in it, and we did pretty good.
Yeah, you did.
We made the playoffs both years, and
you did.
We had good years, and then we got back to Class B. We won we were a state runner-up in 2010, state championship in 2011, and we had some success. But then it seemed like they were starting defenses, and even in Class B, were starting to zoom in and hone in on how to stop our I formation.
Right.
And I'm going, this is not good. What's going on here? The same things we've been doing. And so then we went to Class A, and we stayed in our tight ends and I formation. Didn't have a lot of success the second go around in Class A. And we said, you know what? maybe it's time to bite the bullet and make a change. I formation's not bad. Maybe we need to go to a shotgun spread formation.
Right.
And we can still run. You can still run the ball. People still can run the ball.
Oh, they
on
do
that.
all the time now.
And so there wasn't one school. And so this was a transformation. And gosh, the assistant coaches that I had were just awesome. We went to Papillion South. We went to Grand Island. We went to, oh my God, school after school after school. Said, you run this. We've played against you. You do a good job. We went to clinics. We went to, over in Iowa, we went junior college. We went to, oh my gosh.
Iowa Western.
Iowa Western.
Yeah, he's good. He runs a nice one back.
Yes. And so we went and we got and just stole as much as we could. And they were, high school coaches, I'm going to tell you what, they're, it's a fraternity, like you say, a fraternity.
Yeah.
And they were more than willing to open up and say, hey, what do you want? And we went to we spent a day in Grand Island. We spent a day with Papillion. I'm trying to think where else we went, but it was just awesome. And they said, hey, what film do you need? What can we do? Here's what we do. And so we adapted and we took a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And so we made our offense. So 2 years ago was the first time in 40 years we had not run an I formation in 40 years. 40 years. And you want to talk about scared? I mean, come on. And so we're sitting there and going, okay, we're going to call someplace. And so that was our second year in Class A.
Right.
Didn't go real well, but we learned a lot.
Right.
And so, but we kind of bit the bullet because the next year, then all of a sudden, Elkhorn North is formed.
Right.
And now we're back to Class B.
Right.
But we've had 1 year under our belt of the spread offense.
Right.
And so it was enough experience. And then we said, you know what? Maybe we do need to run some power formation.
Right.
Spread is okay. And we had a decent quarterback. We had some good receivers. But sometimes on a 4th and 1,
it's good to line up.
come on.
Let's line up.
Let's line up and let's get a 1 yard.
Yeah.
And so we had we called it a rip formation. Rip! I'd call rip, and boom, we'd get 3 offensive backs in there and blocking backs, and we'd get double tight, and boom, and that's old. So the old Elkhorn football was still alive.
Yeah.
Of a power, get 1 yard, get 2 yards, and we did. The first year we went to 2 years ago, we didn't get under center one time all year.
Okay.
This last year in our rip, we're under center.
Yeah.
And a quarterback sneak works a little better under center.
Oh, a lot better.
And
yes.
There's a lot. So we learned a lot of things. So we kind of have, by no means are we gurus of offense, by the way. We stole and learned from everybody. But it was kind of a combination. If there's some teams, and we did the power I enough, or our rip formation enough, that there's sometimes 70% of the game, we were in that formation.
Right.
You couldn't stop it. We're going to stay in it.
Right.
And there's some teams that had some big defensive linemen, but their defensive backs weren't real big. And we had some big offensive receivers this year.
Yeah, you did.
Drew Christo's going to Nebraska, and Gannon Greger's going to Northwest Missouri, and we had some big All-American kids. And so we thought, hey, we got some small defensive backs. Let's put the ball out there. Let's put the ball right there, a little quick. So we could do a couple things that were a little bit different and unique. And so, anyway, yeah, it was a combination. And so it transformed in the last 3 years.
Right.
The last 2 years, really. And this last year, we were still kind of learning. Game 1, we got beat by Norris. And so I'm kind of going, oh, geez, we're back down to Class B, and we lose our first game of the year. Okay, here we go. But then, boom, the rest of the season, state championship game, and we beat Aurora.
Yeah.
And so
they had a nice ball club.
And they had a nice team.
Yeah.
And so it was just things fit together. And I gotta compliment our coaches because they had to do a lot of work those last 2 years to learn a brand new offense.
Right.
And new practice techniques and our kids adapted and changed, and they were all for it. And it's kind of funny, when they tell the kids, guys, we're thinking of changing things a little bit. and maybe go into a shotgun. And you can imagine the quarterback's eyes got this big and going, yes, it's about time, coach. So they were excited for it, obviously. They were jacked. And so I said, well, we might throw the ball a little bit more. And you know what the receivers are thinking? Oh, yeah. It's about time, coach. Yeah. So we changed, and I think, and so Dan Fikert, and it's made public now. He just got the job at Elkhorn, and he's been an assistant. So I don't think things are going to change a great deal at Elkhorn. Right. And hey, he can change whatever he wants. But I think he'll keep, because the program, as far as a little bit of run, a little bit of pass, and do whatever works best. And so I think there'll be a little continuity, and so the kids can kind of take a deep breath and go, it's not a dramatic change now. Coach Wortman's gone, but the flow, I think, will continue.
Right. So let me tell you, you've had a great career, 40 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize it was that long till you come in today and said you coached me 41 years ago.
41 years ago, you young guy.
Yeah, I know. I was pretty young back then. Yeah. But I look at this, and so tell me the difference of coaching back then to coaching today with the kids, how it's changed, the game's changed. I mean, it's tackle different than we did back then.
Yeah,
the block different, because back then we hit with our head.
Right.
I mean, everything. No. So how did you adjust to all it? Because there's a ton of changes over 4 years in the way the game's played.
Yeah, and you've got to be able to roll with it. No, the tackling is different. We still have always taught over the years to, keep your head up.
Right.
Don't have that head down. Keep your head up, and use your shoulder pads, and have your head kind of graze the side. So we didn't do a lot of butt, tackling, right? But that's changed. The old Seattle tackle, the way that they do it, and so
rugby
that is
tackle.
Yes. So yeah, those things have changed.
Blocking changed a lot.
Blocking has changed, but and obviously the passing game, and I was more reticent not to change than a lot of people. But we have over the obviously in the last 3 years we've changed, and our defense has changed because maybe we didn't change offensively, but everybody else did, so our defense had to change.
Right.
And it's just the idea of throw the ball, and don't think, Wortman, the way you used to think, that it's a long pass. It's a long handoff.
Yeah.
You're just throwing the ball to Drew Christo out here. He's only 6 yards over there.
Right.
And he's going to run. So throw him the ball and let him run. Right. Or if they're overplaying Drew, well, throw it to Gannon over here. He's only 6 yards away. So you're throwing short passes.
Right.
So it's not like the old days what I was thinking, and so it is still kind of the mentality of you can still be consistent. You don't have to go overboard. Right. And I think the teams, Bill, that we've played and the success that we've had, even the last 2 years, is that we do have now a spread offense, but we don't do a lot of things.
Right.
We try to keep it simple. We try to, we don't want to try to overcoach ourselves. And we're kind of like Noel Martin. Keep it simple and let the kids play.
Right.
And if the kids can't, if they don't feel comfortable, if they don't know what's going on, put them in a position, teach them these 2 or 3 things, and then let them go. And so as far as that's concerned, the game has changed a little bit, the blocking, the tackling, but, you adapt and you love the game, and so it goes on.
Right.
The other part, just the psychological part with kids.
Yeah, that's, what's that like now?
That's changed some, but, kids still come. They love the game, and I've been spoiled. Because and I'm sure there's a lot of teams like this. We get good kids that want to play. The community is supportive. Elkhorn High School, Elkhorn community thinks academics is important, but so is extracurricular. And they've supported the football team and the basketball team and the soccer team, and they support all athletes. And so it has been a joyous ride. I don't want to build it too much, but it has been. The community has been behind you. The kids come, and I haven't had to worry. We put it on the kids. We put kind of ownership on them. This is your season, guys, and we did this from day one. This is your season. What do you want to do? Now, how much does that state championship mean to you? Are you willing to work? Now, here's what we have to do, and we always have a goal setting session. And they set goals. Okay. Now that's state championship. But you know something, guys? Do you know who else wants to win the state championship this year? Waverly, Norris, Blair, and I could name Roncalli. They wouldn't win a state. Now, what are we going to do that's different? And so we set goals. Okay, well, we're going to do this, and we're going to. Okay, now listen, we're going to write this down, and by golly, we're going to do it. And you said we need to lift weights more than anybody. Okay, the weight room's open, and if they're not in there, I said, guys, doesn't this mean anything to you? Look what you wrote down. Does this mean anything to you? And I haven't had to worry about it. They take ownership in that weight room, Bill. When they come in, the seniors are kind of in charge.
Okay.
That they know who's there and who isn't there, and they help. They show the soft. Now I can show them how to lift weights, but when Drew Christo comes in and shows them how to lift weights, those freshman eyes are a little bit bigger,
Right.
and they listen to those seniors. And we have a weight room, I believe, like none other. The kids are in there. They're motivated. They show up. They're on the field. They know what it takes, and they know what we did last year, and here's what we're going to do. And so the psychological part I'm going to miss, because the kids are eager. They work hard. And some people have asked me sometime, hey, Coach, this day and age, the kids don't listen. The kids this, and I feel sorry for you. You're a high school teacher. I said, wait a minute. You know what? The future is in good hands, because these kids are something else. We've got great kids. And is there anybody not following the rules? Oh yeah, there always has been.
Back in my day,
yes.
Sandy, we had to run the dang stairs because Sandy would catch us doing things.
Yes. So
I was one of them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So does that go on today? Sure, there does. But you know what? It's not as bleak as this younger generation. They don't know what work is. Baloney. You go to a high school today, and you watch. Go to Burke. Go to Omaha North.
Right.
Go to any of these schools, and you're going to see people busting their rear end on
better.
that practice field to get better.
Yeah.
And you know what? Our country's in good hands. The kids here, they're all right.
I agree.
They're all right.
I agree. Well, it was a pleasure having you today, partner. It really was. It's going back in history. I think I gained a couple of years in age. I thought I got rid of. We were dealing with Mark.
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to finish the show. I don't know if you were as a pro wrestler.
Yes.
And we're going to finish the show with the old hush. And then we're going to get a picture, right? Yep. Here at the end, because we always take a picture of these fine, outstanding coaches that come here. But put the hand out, yes, for food or money, not necessarily in the order. And you come out and you go, hush, hush, hush. We'll see you all next week. Thank you very much, Mr. Wortman. Good job, partner. Good job.